Welcome. We have Mark Rose, Chairman and CEO of Avison Young, with us today. Mark, we'll have to ask you where you are joining us from. So Avison Young has 5,000 real estate professionals across 16 countries. Their headquarters is actually in Toronto. And we are thrilled to have Mark here today. We're just doing a little pre-chat. They have a group focused on flex and are doing some unique offerings in the space. And Geo, of course, is part of that flex group and asked Mark to come on and share his perspective about why AY is focusing on flex and kind of where he sees the future of flex. So Mark, thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Jamie. Thank you very much. Gio, thank you for setting it up.
Mark, where are you in the world today?
Well, I just arrived back from Europe, so just spent the last week in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, and kind of made my way back through Ireland for the weekend, and now we're in Chicago today.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I lived in Chicago for 15 years. I love that city right about now.
It is an awesome city for 6 months out of the year.
Exactly.
I think you gave him 2 more months than I normally give him. I tell people Chicago's my favorite city 4 months out of the year.
Yeah, 4 might be, about right. Mark, I read some of your blog posts from Davos, and what a tremendous opportunity. I was kind of thinking, you've been a CEO for a long time now, but in your younger days, could you have imagined that you would be a CEO of a company sitting at the World Economic Forum with, the people who were there and the thought leadership must have been just an amazing experience.
Off the charts. Yeah, I don't know that you grow up,
thinking
hoping
about going
for
to
Davos, but but you do know that as you're making your way along your career, that it's certainly a place that you want to land, and it was everything as build plus more, and to come away with the inspiration and the hope that we do have people who want to improve this world. And I will tell you that whether it's heads of state, heads of the ECB, the World Bank, IMF, CEOs of companies, as soon as you come into the secure area, everyone's an equal. Everyone is working on, whether it's, for example, my first day was all ESG, the second day was DEI, and then just the third day was a combination of that plus other issues. Obviously, Ukraine was at the top of the list, but others who are working on, whether it's flex, whether it's just improving the world. I did a half an hour on the metaverse. It was very, very good, very fulfilling.
That's awesome. Well, one of the big things we wanted to come on is clearly you've been at the helm of the AY team for a while now, and certainly in the last, 4 years, you've made a big commitment to the flex side of the team with bringing Charlie Morris back on, who was a former AY professional, had gone actually with a good friend of Jamie and I's, Mark, at Liquid Space, who I believe you have a relationship with as well. So it was just interesting that you were able to see the writing on the wall, even going into COVID. Not that you predicted COVID, but certainly you saw there's a change there. What caused you to really see that need and demand and start preparing for what we see as the future?
40 years of history. We've been writing white papers and reports on the behaviors of occupiers for decades. And obviously we got a great boost from Adam Newman in WeWork. Having spent a lot of time with him, he made flex a thing. He gave it a personality. Okay. And again, we don't have to comment on the company or what they've gone through or anything else. Samdeep's doing a great job there, but we The same way that real estate and best practices property management was able to transform after LEED buildings and green buildings now became something that you could recognize and give awards for. We did see this moment in time where flex became real. Okay.
Mhm.
Also became a little cool, but it really became real. And it took into account the things that we've been saying, that the static office is not what the workers of the day, and certainly not the workers of today and the ones that are coming in, the next 5 to 10 years really want to see. We knew that a hub and spoke model, we knew not quite what the pandemic brought with, the amount of time that people want to spend in or out of the office. But in fairness, the measurements since day one, okay, or maybe let me just say of the 40 years, the utilization of office space has only been at 40% in the first place, right? So if you took a look at what we did in terms of office occupancy, for example, people would come in, the sales force was out, you might go to office, you might travel, but a person being in their seat in any office around the world was 40% usage. There's no manufacturer who would ever run their manufacturing facilities at that rate, yet we ran office space. So why did we do that? Well, there's been a war for talent for a very, very long time. This isn't new. And some people wanted a space where they could put their pictures and wanted to have the comfort, and that was the recognition and the meaning of what it was like to be, a professional who was seen as a leader. The pandemic has helped us to see that that's just not the case, although let's not forget, there are people who still believe that way. Okay. I also believe that those are the people that are getting closer and closer to the end of their careers than the beginning of their careers. But what we know is that collaboration, people working next to each other, a collective intelligence that sometimes is, over video, sometimes it's next door and we need that. Sometimes they need to be home because the only way to take care of a child or a parent is to be home, and sometimes they don't have time for an hour and 20-minute commute. We've known all of these things, and so listening to clients and listening to the workforce of today and tomorrow, it was pretty easy to see even back in 2016, 17, that we were finally going to crack through. The pandemic just it changed everything, right? Because it gave you not just the confidence, or maybe in some cases the need, but companies started to listen to their people again, which I think is one of the most amazing parts of this tragic 2.5 years. So yes, we saw it. Like any good strategy, it's only your ability to implement it to the voice of the client. And sometimes it takes, a moment in time that none of us would say was great, but it certainly helped what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting that for someone like you weren't only dealing with your staff, right? Whether it be our employees or our contractors, but even our clients, right? So you kind of had a double prong approach on this thing of having to deal with two different parties. I mean, how did you navigate through that? First of all, as the CEO of AY with a staff and consultant base. I mean, a lot of decisions had to be made, and it was country to country, by the way. I know that for sure, depending on what was being accepted in countries where we were in the pandemic, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, let's start, it's a basic belief system, and it's one since we, Avison Young, are a culture-based company, this was a great test case because we actually do believe that the company has a responsibility to set the standards for honesty and integrity, set the standards for the strategy and where we want to transform the company to. But we also believe in that you let all subcultures of the world rise up because they are very different. We just don't operate in any format, including real estate. Tokyo is different than the UK, which is different than Atlanta, which is different than Vancouver, and we need to actually embrace that.